I think we're live and, well, you can all hear us over there, right? Mike, John, Abby, Wendy, okay.
And the meeting's being recorded.
Yep.
Just gonna hear it said this meeting is being recorded.
Yes.
Okay. So anyways, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is November 18th. We are just a little after 5 o'clock, and this is the meeting of the Nantucket Planning and Economic Development Commission. Few orders of business before we get started at this point. Let me call the meeting to order and establish that there is a quorum at this point. So when I call your name, just please say present here or whatever suits your needs. Joe Top. Here. Christina Jelmy.
Here.
Brooke Moore.
Just chilling.
See, that's the creativity I love. There you go. I gotta be really good from here on in now, Brooke. Dave Iverson. Here. Nat Wall. Here. Wendy Hudson.
Here.
Abby DiMolina.
Living my best life here.
You guys are getting way creative now.
Baby snuggles.
John Kitchener, you're gonna have to beat that.
Rocking on the rock.
There you go. I'm so proud of you. That's great. And the chair, Barry, I'm here as well too. For staff members, we have Megan Trudell,
Here.
Mike Burns.
Virtually present.
Virtually. Soon to be substituted by AI, right? Leslie Woodson Snell.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, there's one other person up there.
There's two people. One is not Barbara,
I'm sorry.
not Barbara LaChance. I don't know who's in for Barbara.
I don't know
LaChance.
who that
And then
is.
Miranda was in.
That's
Yeah, it's Rich.
Hi.
Yeah, Rich Bilski.
Rich Pilskett. Okay, Rich. And was there someone else you said? Or did I just?
Miranda.
Hi,
Brissino.
Miranda Briseno, MassDOT Planning.
Hi, Miranda. Okay. So you have an agenda before you at this point. I'd love someone to make a motion to. Thank you. In a second. Second. All right. Roll call vote, please. Wendy Hudson.
Sorry, my you I
Hi. Okay, so you're approving agenda, yes? Abby DiMolina,
Aye.
John Kitchener,
Aye.
Joe Toppen,
Aye.
Christina Jelmy,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Dave Iverson, Nat Lowell,
Aye.
and the chair says aye as well too. Okay, is there any public comment on this point for any items not included on the agenda? Is there anyone even out there?
We have 0 people in attendance.
That answers that question, so thank you. You have minutes from October 28th. And
They were not included. In
Oh, they
the
weren't.
packet.
Okay.
Catherine needs
thought
a little bit longer to
all
find
right, so
it, so they'll be for
not
December.
hear anything, we'll just table those and say that was unanimously agreed to. Appointments, so this will just keep coming up until someone yells uncle or otherwise. But we do have an opening on the contract review committee for human services, and I don't know if anyone has thought it over and still wants to volunteer.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I suspect they're well into their process, so it may not make sense to appoint anyone at this point anyway, because they would be stepping into the middle.
Yeah, I think it's still just worth putting onto the agenda since harmless at this point, but your point is very well taken. Okay, so moving along, that's going to bring us to the discussion of the No Fear Farm Road improvements. Mike, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and this was, let me know if this is being shared okay. You can see my screen. This was requested to be on here just to go over the status of the roundabout project and I guess a discussion of a desire to do something on the interim. So I'll go ahead and start with a little bit of a history that you all may recall, but it doesn't hurt to kind of go over this. The No Fear Farm Road improvements were Initially recommended in a road safety audit conducted in the spring of 2017 and later confirmed through the Old South Road Corridor study done later in the fall of 2017. A lot of you that were on the NPC at the time might recall that the roundabout was the preferred alternative that was selected for advancing improvements at the Noble Deer Farm Road intersection. A couple of years later, just other actions that were taking in the vicinity, the community did approve through town meeting to request that Mass DOT reconstruct the Milestone Rotary and to widen Milestone Road to include 11-foot travel lanes and 1-foot shoulders on either side of the roadway. Just looking at a project map, again, this is something I've shared previously. So just quickly going from left to right, on the far left is the reconstruction of the Milestone Rotary, which is a project that's kicking off now. The next intersection over the Monomoy Road intersection realignment that was completed already, and the Pulpus Road intersection is following suit there, and that project has been kicked off, and construction will start in the coming months and should last through a lot of 2025. Again, as mentioned, the Mass DOT has also initiated the widening of Milestone Road from the Rotary to Bunker Road, widening the roadway from 22 feet to 24 feet. And then a little bit further to the right on the image, the reconstruction of the Milestone at Noble Deer Farm Road intersection. Again, that's being advanced as with Mass DOT as the project sponsor. And just to look at some brief excerpts from the Old South Road Corridor study in 2017, on the right-hand side of the image here in the yellow dot, Noble Deer Farm Road was shown to have an approach level of service at F, failure, and that was current conditions in 2017. Also on the left side, the yellow dot shows that the Milestone Rotary was in level of service F. Looking at the proposed solutions, the single lane roundabout on the right-hand side for the Noble Deer Farm Road intersection yielded a level of service A in the build year of, this year it was the build year, 2024, and that's using a 1% annual growth rate from 2017 to 2024. A roundabout showed through the analysis that would have a perfect level of service, and then reconstruction of the Milestone Rotary on the far left went from F to a level of service B in the morning and C in the evening time, but definitely a marked improvement in delays and overall congestion. As part of the Old South Road Corridor study, we did have a rendering done of what that would look like to the intersection. You see that it's a 3-way T intersection currently with a shared use path on the southern side. The shared use path on the southern side would be preserved. It would be a crossing through a delta island as part of a single lane roundabout improvement. And just going to the next image here, the image on the left-hand side, you'll see 2 red parallel bars. That is the proximate limits of the county layout. And you can see here that a lot of the improvements, or nearly all of the improvements, are done within the, if not the state highway, definitely within the county layout. And if you're really interested, the breakout on the level of service, delay, and queue lengths are shown in the charts on the right. I'll just note that some of the queue lengths that were noted under failure had the queuing of traffic along Noble Deer Farm Road backed up to about where the playing fields are. So obviously you all know that it backs up a little bit further than that at times, but that just gives you some indication of the accuracy of the congestion analysis. So just on this, before I go to the actually, you know what? I will go to the next slide. So under the long-term solution of the roundabout, this project is being advanced by Mass DOT. If there's any questions about the process, Rich Bilski from District 5 of Mass DOT is here to answer those. But the project does have an assigned project number, which is an incredible thing to achieve, to have an idea, actually have a project ID. It does have an assigned project manager. The designer is Fuss O'Neill. They have an office estimate for this improvement at almost $7 million, and this is based on current, the latest bid prices that we've got from the advertisement of the Pulpus and Milestone Road intersection, and the notice to proceed that Mass DOT would issue to Fuss and O'Neill is soon to be executed. I don't know if that's a good way to characterize it, Rich.
Yes.
But once that's notice to proceed is issued, then the schedule will be developed, and we can have a meeting and share what a Gantt chart of showing where our public meetings are going to be and just how long it would take to get through the design process. Because that's just not known for right now. However, is kind of the point of having this item on the agenda, there has been a discussion of a interim short-term improvement or adding a turning lane. Some items that would be necessary for that to happen would require a subdivision to be triggered through the planning board process that would require traffic improvements. Or town meeting could make changes to the overlay districts that would, right now, the turning lanes are prohibited in the county, or excuse me, the country overlay district. So it would need some kind of town meeting action to amend the town overlay district to actually cover this particular area to have the turning lanes. Again, a funding source for those short-term improvements has not been identified, and it would require a Mass DOT permit and involve plan review by Mass DOT. And just to further those two, I guess characterize those two improvements, the long-term and the short-term improvement, Mass DOT will design and construct in coordination with the town using statewide resources the preferred long-term improvement, the roundabout. And that would improve the operations of the intersection to a level service A that we've shown there, and would have a safer path crossing. And the project as it stands now will have improved lighting for improved safety, and just what it would do for the community is a lot of times roundabouts create a bit of a gateway opportunity that's can be fun. Some of you might remember when the Sparks Avenue roundabout had a sculpture. It was just kind of a fun part of the community. There's definitely those opportunities that exist here at this location as well. I don't know if that's going to be airport related or whatnot, but there's those opportunities with the roundabout project. Now, the short-term solution, because this is a separate project and would have to be initiated by the town, and since Mass DOT does own the right-of-way, the town would need to request that DOT advance that project in the short term. Since it is another project, it likely jeopardizes the timeline for the short term, the long-term solution. And I had already mentioned that it does require Mass DOT review and approval. That is not a quick process. It does take a number of months to get through that. And the short-term improvement, the turning lane, was evaluated as part of the Old South Road corridor improvements, and just did not have the safety or the operational improvement that the roundabout project had. So, Mr. Chair, I hope it's all right to run through that history, the status of the roundabout project, and the characterization that I provided for the long-term versus the short-term improvements. And like I said, Rich Bilski from DOT is here to help answer any questions that you all might have.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Board members, do you have any questions, comments, or things you'd like to offer to Mike at all?
I have
Yeah.
a question, for you, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I know that they are just getting into design, but historically, Mike, do you have any idea how long the long-term solution roundabout, is it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Yeah, that's just with your experience.
I would have you reflect on the Milestone and Publish Road intersection. That's probably going to be about a 4 to 5 year design process, and that's quick. That's very, very quick to go from advancing the Pulpus Road design, starting that design, to where now here we are in 2024 and breaking ground soon on that project. And that took about 4 years to achieve. I would assume that it would be at least the same amount for intersection improvement at Nobody Farm Road. That said, I don't think that the short-term solution is going to be a quick design review process either, and I don't have a timeline on that either. But I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I would say you might try to gain a year out of this project, but I don't know. It's really hard to guesstimate on that.
So it's 4 years for the design, and then after that, construction. Or-
Very likely, correct.
4 years for design.
Anyone else?
And that doesn't even start construction.
Do you guys want to comment out?
No.
No, you just want a little internal.
Talking with the Messiah.
Stop it.
So Mike,
Go ahead. Now,
you know, we're still on Nantucket, Mike. Okay, and unfortunately, everything that is so obvious to do, like in the old days, just go do it, is still in a lot of people's minds. And I understand that thinking because I'm one of them, but I know that it can't happen, but I like think that way all day. Just do it, get it done, but you can't. And this is unfortunate that it would take nearly as long to do the turning lane, which by the way, is almost already made, except for that little part where the bike path is. If people pull over there in that spot and just sit in their car, and talk on the phone, send emails, whatever they're doing. And so you're saying it's basically the same amount of time, Mike? Almost.
I would
Where'd you
say
go?
almost, and Rich, I don't know if you want to provide some commentary on your experience working with other communities, how quickly a turning lane can be improved. But yeah, Mr. Chair, it's because the plan does need to be developed, right?
Yeah.
And then the plan does need to be reviewed by the District 5 office, which again, that takes some time. And then there's the mobilization that would be needed to actually do the work. So that's not a short process. And Mr. Chairman, the concern with that is I don't know what that does to the timeline for the long-term solution. That this might delay the long-term solution another few years as well. So that's the major concern, is the preferred improvement is going to be pushed off a number of years for something that's a little bit of a compromise.
go ahead, Brooke.
I'm new to this, but I don't know why you do the worst thing at all or spend community money on a worse solution. And a right turn lane on a road where people drive fast is actually potentially really dangerous.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It probably increases the likelihood of accidents rather than decreasing.
I'd rather go for the rotary.
Me too.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
My only comment, I completely understand that, but I think the public looks at us as the planning and to get this information out with kind of a timeline to set expectations that Rotary is designed 4 years and then construction 2 years, as soon as we can start communicating that information to set that expectation. To your point, Nat, people think it should be able to get done. But I think it's important that we communicate that out so people understand that it is gonna take, years and years and years.
It just, today's world has lots of moving parts. The last thing we did, because we just wanted to do it, was Nantucket bike path, and that's where it ended. And everything else since then has been hard, and it's not getting any easier. But I think that overall, this and the widening, by the way, Mike, it's really not 22 to 24. It's more like 20 and a half to 24. I check it. It's pretty narrow, Wisconsin Road. It's going to be great when we get there. Okay. And I understand Kyle's thinking. I know that's what you're thinking about. This is talking from somebody that drove down Bunker Road with semis in the mud for a long time. I mean, it's amazing how long it took to even get that done. And that was I think the state paid for that. Mike, just another note on this project overall. Did we get that little quarter moon thing plugged into this design that we talked about, pulling out a bunker, taking a left? We got to get that in there. As far as like in the plan, like so that it's not like trying to figure it out 3 years from now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and just to be clear, there's 3 projects that Mass DOT is advancing: the rotary, this project here at Nobody Farm Road, and then the widening. And then the widening, I believe, is going to be happening on the heels of the 2 intersection projects. DOT is advancing the 2 intersection first, and then follow that through with the improvements to Milestone Road. So absolutely, that's what you're talking about. Is
Whatever we
can't-
gotta
I
call
can't-
that thing, it has to happen.
There's a term for it, and I'm flaking on the term for
Yeah.
it right now. It's not the crescent moon turn off, but we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That would be part of that project.
Okay,
The widening's just to Bunker Road.
yeah.
I'm sorry to you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So Mike, I've got two questions for you. If you were to do the short-term solution, what would you estimate would be the change to the level of service in that area?
I've tried to find that work was done. That was part of what Beta Group had developed as part of their alternatives analysis, and I just could not find that work
Okay.
in the appendices. So I can't speculate. I just know that it was dismissed very early on because the majority of the traffic does turn left at the intersection. So there would be some level of improvement. To say that there's none isn't true. It just would not be the magnitude of a level service A and having almost no delay, if any, from the approaches.
So it would definitely be worth looking that up and just getting access to that, because that is one of two important issues. The second thing is, what would be the cost to the town on terms of doing this short-term solution?
It would be 100% of the cost. It would be
No,
the cost for design and the construction. And I do not want to speculate on construction costs because that is changing every single day, and it seems
I
like
get
it's
it.
doubling every week. So I can't give a good estimate right now on what that would be.
And Mike, you'd be responsible for the survey and any land acquisitions or temporary easements too, because you'd be doing it on your own.
Yeah, so Mike, here again, I think that's worth at least getting some rough estimates in for it, because if you're really not going to improve the level of service there all that much, and the town is going to be on the hook for whatever, be it $1 million, 2 million, whatever. Again, there's all of a sudden you have to look at that in perspective to, with the roundabout, there's a greatly improved level of service, and we're also going to be able to get at least some state funding to be able to do it. Hopefully it's kind of at the same level of what happens with the things that we do with Mass DOT and stuff. So I think in the long run, and if there's only a year's worth of differential, those three things would compel me to say that the long-term solution is probably the way to go with this thing. But I think if we're gonna bring that information out, which we're going to, those are all worthy things for the public to consider, things we just talked about, in terms of making a decision on where we're gonna go with this. Thank you. Does anyone
Sure.
else have anything?
No.
Just to follow up on that point, if I could, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, no, please.
Mass DOT will be presenting an alternatives analysis once the project kicks off, and we have our first initial public meetings. The consultant that they've hired, Fuss and O'Neill, is updating all of that analysis. So that was always intended to be presented to the public. I would hope that it'd be okay if we present that information as part of those forums. And just to let them know that there was diligence done to look at other alternatives.
Okay, great. Anyone else have anything?
No. Good.
Good. All right. So is there any course of action that you were seeking? Was this strictly informational, Mike, at the moment?
Purely informational. If there's no action to take on the short-term solution,
Whatever.
or the rental, you tell me.
Well, it is town meeting season.
Yes.
Oh, my
Man,
God, that's good, Mike. No, I've done that too.
Yeah.
So no actions being requested,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
All right.
See,
So if there's no additional questions for Mike, we're gonna move along at this point. We good, Mike? Is there anything else?
Nothing. I'll just thank Rich for his time in participating in the meeting,
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
and Miranda.
Thank you
thanks,
both.
guys.
Okay, so the next thing is we're gonna do an update, the director of planning review process. Leslie, I'm gonna let you take the
Okay.
lead on that.
All right, so after the last meeting, the commission decided to have Abby help out and to figure out like the best path forward. So Abby was put in touch with Human Resources, and they provided her with a review form to use as a guide. Abby and Barry and I have talked and sort of agreed, which you all need to agree to this as well, that, I'll fill out the reform as a self-assessment. And then the chairman of the commission, the chairman of the planning board, and the town manager will review my assessment and assess it. And then Abby has volunteered to combine the review and aggregate it and then bring it back to the commission for consideration. And the thought with that was, the commission and the planning board are the boards that I work most closely with. Those two chairmen are in and out of the office a lot and are probably most familiar with, my day-to-day as well as the work with those two boards and others. So that's how we got to that.
Questions, comments? Abby, do you want to chime in on anything?
No, I mean, I think Leslie did a really good job. We had a really good productive discussion. We just kind of like walked through the template and we did update it a little bit to make it more specific to what she does and also how she's gonna put her goals. And then our thought, I think, Leslie, just the only thing you didn't mention is if everyone's okay with that process and we do that, then we would also, once that's completed, come up with a template for 2025 as well. So for the next year.
Yeah.
So if everyone's that, then we would kind of use this going forward and then she could use it to set up her goals for the next year too.
Good.
I think it's good because I think the closer, the more we're using the HR, standard HR procedures, but adapting them to the unique situation of NPDC and MOU and all of that. I think this seems like a really good plan.
Anyone else have additional comments? It sounds like we're pretty good with where we're going at the moment, not hearing anything. Okay.
Do you need a motion at all or?
No, I think it's not quite gelled to that level yet.
Okay.
But if you're confident with what most of the people are doing, we're gonna continue along the pathway that we've already laid out at the moment. And I don't think that would necessarily require a vote, but I can think of.
Yeah, and I don't wanna make things sticky, but I think I would prefer a vote, just because I think what we're doing here is we're taking the responsibility, Barry,
Yeah.
and I wanna make sure that this whole board is supportive of that.
And it's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right.
And it's not because I disagree, I just think it's important that we have that vote and we see where everyone stands.
No, I completely respect that. It's a proper and good thought at this point. Do you want to try making a motion on that then?
I can if you want.
Yeah.
For it.
There you go.
Go ahead, Brooke.
So I would move that we follow the review procedure as outlined to us verbally tonight, to include the creation of a process to carry forward into 2025.
Does that work for everyone? Does that have enough information to be able to?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Second that.
All right. So the motion's not made and seconded at this point. Discussion. We'll do a roll call vote if you would do so. All right. Joe Topman.
Aye.
Christina Gelmy.
Aye.
Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Dave Iverson.
Aye.
Nat Lowell.
Aye.
Wendy Hudson.
Aye.
Abby G. Molina.
Aye.
John Kitchener.
You're muted,
See-
John.
Can't hear you, John.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair votes in the affirmative as well, too. And in case I forget, Abby, thank you so much for the hard work you're putting in on this. It's really appreciated.
Thank you.
Did you get Wendy's vote?
Thank you, Abby.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right.
If I miss anyone, you can just yell at me. All right, proposed enabling legislation. I think we pretty much covered that at Friday's meeting. I don't know if you have any afterthoughts or anything afterwards. If not, then we are gonna move along past that subject. Okay. 2025 meeting schedule. That is informational only. If you have any concerns or anything, please let staff know about it.
Was that found somewhere?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I sent that. to
It
all
was
of
sent
you.
out.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
sent it separately.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
So if there's any problems, also please make sure you communicate back with me.
And I'll get that posted up on the website this week. I'll connect
Yeah,
with
beautiful.
parents, yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything under committee reports at this point? Yeah.
Skip the town
wait.
area
Oh,
plan.
stop. Go ahead.
The town area plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that up in half a second. That's gonna be the last thing I was gonna bring up.
Do you want to switch to what's on the agenda?
All right.
No, Barry, it's whatever you want. I'm just saying, it's before the committee reports.
Barry?
Maybe I'm operating, am I operating off? I'll be damned. I think I'm operating off the draft.
It's like the-
So my apologies. That's good because we had talked about this anyways. So the town area plan, we were asked the commission to get comments back by the 15th, which none of the commissioners did that. I will tell you, I finished mine off today. So better late than never. You've seen comments from staff. What I'm going to ask you all to do after conferring with Leslie is to please make sure that if you have comments that you'd like to have included in the town area plan, please get those back to staff before November 29th, which is Black Friday. Go figure how that works. Because there's a meeting that will be coming up a few days after that with the people from the town area plan.
Okay.
So any feedback that you have is really important, but staff really should need to review that before it gets out.
You don't want to have any kind of discussion now, right?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. No,
Framing.
please.
Not because it's a short meeting,
I'm
I'm
just-
just saying.
No, I'm
Okay.
just, this meeting is as
There
long
is
as it
something.
takes.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. But Leslie has some comments she'd like to make.
Now, I just want to quickly say, just because people from the town area plan may or may not be watching, although I heard we had 0 viewers earlier, but that could have changed.
Yes,
I think they did a really nice job overall. You can tell that they put a lot of work into it. It does need, perhaps some changes
Mhm.
that I want to talk with them about. Megan already sent the chair and vice chair an email today saying that staff wants to meet with them after the holidays, so we're planning on that. So it would be great if you could get any comments to us by the 29th, so we'll have them when we meet with them. It needs a little cleanup, it needs some organizational stuff. And there are some topics in there that we do need to talk with them about that may conflict with other things. But overall, they've done a really nice job.
I like the outline and where it goes, you know, how we came to the agreement as far as that.
And positive feedback is great too,
Yeah.
if you wanna, write up some things that are great about it.
Abby, go ahead.
Sorry, it's not actually related to the area plan or the enabling of legislation, but I didn't get my hand up in time. That's okay.
Oh, so do you mind if we go back for a second? Anyone? No?
Yeah, is
Okay.
that okay? It's my fault. I was just gonna propose that maybe we form a small work group or have 1 or 2 people. One of the people I thought of was, people who have corporate kind of presentation experience. Is we had talked about creating a presentation and working on a draft of it and then bringing it back to the commission to review, discuss, iterate, if anyone thought that would make a good idea. John Kitchener was one of the people I thought of. I'm happy to help on it. I didn't know if the rest of the commission might be open to that.
Just one thing I'd mention, Abby, I think one thing that we really need to entertain is the timing on this thing too. Because I'm afraid if we get it out too early, it'll probably be a wonderful thing, but it will get lost and diluted over time. So I'd probably say that if we're gonna do something, it should roughly come pretty close to when we're able to carry our legislation forward into whatever arenas are necessary, and that way it's pretty fresh in people's minds where we're heading as well too. So I really wouldn't want to do anything like in January, February, or March, because we're as far as I'm concerned, we're pretty far out from an event horizon with this at that time. So that would be my only comment about just making sure we have the time for it. And I think if we're going to adopt that, then I think we'll have some time to do some serious contemplation on things. I'm just gonna go to Leslie and then I'll go to Christine.
My concern with the timing of doing something earlier is I wouldn't want to create confusion with the town meeting voters thinking that we're bringing something forward
Yeah.
for this coming
Point
town
well taken.
meeting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I think that's really important that we not make it confusing.
Right. Christine?
So I just respectfully disagree a little bit, because I feel that people have been asking about what has, NPEDC done. And in town meeting, it's always, we're gonna come up with something, we're gonna come up with something, we're gonna come up with something. And I just feel that the credibility of the fact of whether we have done something or haven't, that we should at least be providing that information, that we have done something, we have something solid. And this is our plan of action, and we are going to allow, we don't want to confuse the state and all that. And I realize that it's complicated, but I feel that, I just feel for credibility that we should be doing more public outreach on that information.
Okay. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two things. I definitely agree with Christina about the timing, that sooner is better than later. It's not dying down in the media, and it's the sooner we get something out, I feel it's the better. But secondly, I would for sure volunteer to work with Abby, the two of us, to get a draft out to you guys, and we can iterate it as many times as we need to. So regardless of when we decide to actually do it, I would say preparing it sooner rather than later is better, because it does require some iterations from an input from everybody, which is what Abby and I would want to do. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a case of two things being right at the same time. I think that Leslie's point is a very good point, as well as Christina's point. So I just think we have to be sensitive to not confuse people, but I do think that it's important that the work we've done is represented and available for people to see if they need to see it. And for us not just to be careful not to be pushing it out there before town meetings so people get the wrong idea.
I'm just gonna want to chime in real quickly at this point. So this may be more of trying to develop two different things. One would be an op-ed piece. So it can be brief, to the point. It can say it can be just almost like an executive summary of something, but the real heavy duty aspects of this, in terms of going out and doing educational sessions, whatever, probably should wait until we're well outside of town meeting. And like I said, closer to the event horizon of where we're going to be doing something as a commission. There was something else I wanted to chime in on that. I'm sorry. But I think we could probably accomplish both. And if we're going to do an op-ed piece, I'm going to say wait till after the holidays. So we're into January, things have now started to quiet down, because the next month and a half or so, people's focus of attention is going to be all in the holidays. And I don't want to lose that part of it. I don't want to get diluted in there somehow.
I mean, I also think we should have, I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
I think we should have our version of the legislation available on the town website somewhere. So if people ask you and say, well, you can go to the town website, here it is, you can find it. And I'm not saying, I think that Abby and John's idea is great, whether it's a slideshow or what it is, whatever they do. But I think the nuts and bolts that are available to people that ask on the town website would be helpful for us.
So,
Let me just say, I have a final version that says draft that was ready to go if you all wanted to advance something. So I was planning on posting that on your website anyway.
so I want to give Abby a homework assignment again, or more, or something. So we talked about this Friday. We just don't remember. Dave actually just hit on everything I was trying to say, or thinking of saying. We need to have what we are now in English, like what we are, our 11 positions. This is how they are appointed by their own body, how our current at larges are appointed, and then have the new legislation and an explanation, you know, sort of like cliff notes with different color, I don't know, something you can see that shows how we arrived at the change
Mhm.
and the pertinent points to each one.
Yeah.
That way, what Dave is saying, I agree with what Dave is saying, something that you can click onto and say, there it is, this is what we have a good day. If we start op-eding and all that, it's, I want to just turn back to the town council form of government, what's happening. That's a big, gigantic, massive change.
Yeah.
Okay, that has a committee, it has, you know, lots of meetings that affects everybody, okay?
Mhm.
This has been turned into something like that, and it's not.
Right.
It's not. Okay, it isn't. You can make it, you can think it is, but it isn't. And I think what we've done over the last year and a half,
Two.
2
Plus.
years,
2+.
is really good. I mean, I actually like, I really like what we've done. Okay, and how we arrived at these things. And I think it's important to explain it. And keep it simple for now without getting sort of revigorating more fodder and questions and Nantucket year-round community and I mean, you know, I'm not wrong when I said about the island home. It'll be easier to get that approved at town meeting than this if we don't have everything explained in a process where someone can speak more than 2 minutes. It isn't that easy. And so I think that waiting was the right thing. I think that using this time to slowly ease this into the public, they understand what we've done, because what we've done is it's major, but it's actually really constructive. It really is.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah.
I know that they can do that with the changes and the explanation for each position.
Okay. John and then Brett.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So I hope I'm speaking for Abby too, but we were not really thinking about the op-ed piece. We were thinking about the second piece that Nat sort of described as what it is we need to get out there. That is what Abby and I would do a draft for, and then let you guys obviously iterate it. And so that's what the work that we were contemplating. Whether it goes early or later, I'm in the camp of earlier. You know, Mr. Chair, when you said like closer to our next commission sort of action point, or how you described that, what is that going to be exactly? That, you know, what point is it that you feel this should be held until that point? If you could just describe that point to me, it would be helpful.
Well, without conferring to staff, given where we are in terms of how to proceed forward with this legislation, you're either into a special town meeting, which brings you up into September of 2025, or 2026 annual town meeting. So just work with me. I'm just saying it's that far out. But that's all I'm saying to you is there's this, I think there's a smaller piece that can go out, but the main thrust of this thing really should come very close to when, like I said, we're ready to launch this out into whatever venue is necessary for it to move ahead. There's a lot of there's still moving components in the process. And like I said, you do this too early, or I think if you do this too early, people are going to like, thank you, got it. We've got our detractors who will take it apart bit by bit. And then the other thing is, if you relaunch it later on, people are going to be like, oh yeah, I looked at that. Thanks very much. Have a nice day. So I think developing, if you want to do this too, I would develop some timelines about really what and when all these things are supposed to occur. That's just off the top of my head, looking at it. And just, I'm going to chime in one more thing. If we do a true educational program above and beyond just getting the information out, I would honestly suggest we get someone professionally skilled in PR to help us with it. Could be like a Rima Sherry or someone else.
Yeah.
That we've used beforehand, who really has a sense of how to develop a program like this that will have some chances of success.
And that's.
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
absolutely correct.
All right.
Mr. Chair, may I respond or no?
Yeah,
what you
go ahead.
said?
I'll turn to Brooke. Sorry.
So I must be misunderstanding them, because I thought when we decided to take no action on Friday,
Yep.
that, you know, the strategy was to let Ms. Rayport's article, you know, go its route through the state,
Right.
Yeah.
which that legislative process starts in January. So for us to be even thinking of anything in a special town meeting in September, well, we won't know how her article fared by then, will we? So isn't really our first opportunity to go to a town meeting, isn't it really the standard, you know, the annual 2026?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
All right. I'm going to slow things down here a bit. Brooke.
We're doing a lot of speculation here. I agree with John. What we said on Friday was that we were going to hold and allow the current home rule petition to make its way through the legislature.
Yep.
If we go out and start pitching another version, it's going to be very confusing. I do think, however, there is value in letting the community know that this commission did the work it was asked to do by town meeting.
Agreed.
And I don't think it has to be a big media campaign. I
Right.
think it is a description of the changes that are in the version that we came up with, which we are not acting on because there's an active home rule petition at the State House. And leave it at that.
Yep.
If there is a record of the work that's been completed and an explanation about why we think that's the best route to go, but we're gonna wait and see.
And a little synopsis of how many.
All right. That,
Yes,
John,
and
Joe.
that's what John is talking about.
Abby?
John, yeah, oh, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. You might as well now. Go ahead.
I think that's where I think that's what John and I were thinking about, is more just having that piece, because we do need, as Christina pointed out, we do need to speak to that. I don't think the whole PR campaign, all that stuff, we weren't really talking about that. We were more, again, just summarizing the work that we've done. This is what we've done, as Brooke pointed out, like, this is what our process is, but just like getting it documented. So if anyone, and including, like, I just saw a meeting for the select board come through, like, I would like us to have, we're going to need to be prepared somehow and at least have something that is succinct and clear on what we've done versus what is kind of being floated. And so that was, I think, really our.
Yeah, Joe.
I agree with Christina and Brooke. I think that we should put out some letter, some informational. Anytime there's smoke, I think we need to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I just waiting or letting people create their own narrative, I think is a really bad thing. So I think that we could write something and we'll see where it goes and wait till town meeting, see it till then, or talk to you then. But I think there has to be something from this board.
Mhm.
And I think this has to be more often from the planning board, ZBA, like I think the chairs should be writing more op-eds, getting more information out there. I think would be wise. If they see something, they should just move on it and act and get out the right message and and the truth.
Well,
so I think that that's something we should be doing. So I agree with Christine.
And I just want to, it's very funny you said that, because I want to go back to, this is where, when we had our joint meeting with the planning board and the select board, planning commission, I brought up something about the communications department and trying to do that. And that is really a good idea that you brought up. But again, would probably need that level of intervention, help, whatever. I think left to our own devices, it's good. We've got people who can guide us, but getting it onto a slightly different level.
Yeah, but based on meeting and an email correspondence I had with Libby,
Yeah.
I think that it'll be available to us.
That's really good.
And
And I think we can expand on
Yeah.
that in there. It's really good. All right.
So where does that leave us with the offer from Abby and
Just took the words out of my mouth. Well, it's not just Abby
Okay,
and
John.
John. It's what is the pleasure of the commission and what do they want to do?
I think we've all said it in different ways.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the perfect language to say what I believe they should be doing, but like the sort of the fact check explanation, how many meetings we've had over how much time.
Yeah.
Showing the existing 11 member makeup. And then showing the changes in simple, easy explanation, informative explanation of what we've done and why. And I think that's what needs to be able to be. Really cool. Go ahead.
I'm gonna stop right here. Let me turn it over to Leslie because I know she's been patiently condensing all of these thoughts too, and she may be able to just move us on to the next foot here.
Okay, I like the direction of where this is going. When I said I wanted to, I thought you all should wait. I thought we were talking about more like real public outreach, more involvement.
Yeah,
So now
that's-
that now that I'm clear
yeah,
on
yeah.
what we're talking about, I completely support what you all are suggesting.
Not,
And instead of trying to work the details out right here at the table tonight, why
Yeah.
don't we let Abby and John, who volunteered, to talk amongst themselves, meet with staff, and we'll go from there and maybe put something on for your December agenda.
I just follow up on one quick thing.
Yeah.
The one thing that you all created, I think, whoever it was, at town meeting, you had the
Yes.
list. And that never was printed out or anything, and I think that would be really useful.
I
That's
wrote
what
the spreadsheet exists.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, I know, it
it
can be revised.
I don't know where it exists?
We'll find it.
But that's
We'll
okay.
find it.
That's okay.
I'll go on YouTube.
You gotta remember that what we're trying to do is explain something from 1973 to 2024 that honestly not many people know.
Yeah.
And we have to, it's almost like we're starting from scratch, 50, 60 years later, in a sense. 50 years.
Yeah.
How many years is it? Yeah.
I think something,
51.
the only thing I'm probably gonna go back to is a quote that has been used several times. If I had more time, I'd send you a shorter letter. So as much as there's a lot of information to impart, I think that's where the public education part of it really will have to come out. What we're going to do in the short term of things should be what I call easily digestible. You don't want to overload it with a lot of information. And that's where I think Abby, John, and staff will be able to pull that together. There'll be a balance that will come out of that. So. Okay. Do we want to take a vote to have them proceed with that or?
My only
Support.
concern with this process that we've just laid out is that you've effectively created a subcommittee, which means we'll have to post meetings and take minutes and do all of that. So if Abby and John are aware of that and they know that's what they have now volunteered to do, then that's fine, but we have to stay within the open meeting law of this
Thank you.
process.
2 people.
2 people. Yeah.
2 people. Yep. Moment you went beyond one.
And John just raised his hand.
John?
Yeah, I think you just clarified. So my question was, is 2 people working on a draft, a work group that has to be open meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in that case, I'll leave it to you, Mr. Chair. Maybe this is something that staff should take on and just get something from all of us, because that sounds a little heavy to me. If we've got to go through that kind of process just to get a draft out. But Abby, what do you think? I don't want to talk for myself. Can Abby,
So-
please?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think if we could just do it informally, but if we have to form a subgroup and all of that, I agree with you. I don't know if it's worth it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know the open meeting, like specifics for that.
Good. Let me turn it over to Leslie. Go ahead.
How about this? Because it sounds like what you're talking about isn't so far off from documents that we've already put together that we
Yeah.
could just modify. So why don't we work internally and then we'll regroup at your December meeting.
Is that reasonable for you
Otherwise,
all?
we might be here all night talking.
I
about
agree.
How we're gonna do this.
Think we can wait till then? You all good?
Yeah, I think the directive's been set that we want some type of document that will explain, that we can point people to or whatever and.
In the meantime, if we get out the draft on the town website, at least we could say, hey, this is the work we've done.
I think I'd still want you all to complete, you know, just whatever that final
We could do that
version
next
would be.
meeting. Yeah.
And personally, I kind of like that as well too, because again, get it out right now. Get it out too
Well,
soon. And
I
we're
think
diluted
it's
into the
a
holidays.
great idea that they have, but I think this open meeting law, it just makes it onerous, and I think that staff has enough things on their hands that they
Yes.
shouldn't be creating this, so I think we should readdress it next month.
We all good?
Yep.
Anything else? All right. Now let me go to committee reports. Sorry about that. Anyone have anything? Go ahead. Gonna let you go
No,
first.
go let Wendy go.
All right, Wendy, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Oh, just, I just wanted to say that, and Wesley would say this too, that Ann Goby, the Director of Regional Planning for the state, did visit the island. I think it was last Tuesday. We had a great group of community leaders. Brooke was there, the chiefs. I think that was super valuable. She handed out her cards to everybody, and everyone can add more to that if they'd like, but I thought it was funny that she and her sister-in-law were here, but they were going to take the 4:30 High Line back, and it got canceled because it was high wind. So she had to take the 5 o'clock slow boat in high winds and got the full Nantucket experience. So it probably helped reiterate the point that Libby was making about our, challenges with the vessel speed issue. So so she got a real taste, and it was a great connection. So I'm glad to say she made the trip.
Yeah. I would add, I thought it was a great meeting. We covered a lot of topics. But I think really impressed upon her how unique things are here, and that sometimes one of the things that she brought up was the tension around employer-based housing being something the state doesn't really like to see, and us explaining we do not have a choice here. Like, the town doesn't have a choice, employers don't have a choice. It was just interesting conversation. So really getting her to see why we have to do things differently here sometimes.
And I attended that meeting as well, and it was really great to have her here. And I felt like she was very receptive to a lot of the rural island issues that we addressed with her. And I think it would be great if we could get more of our state officials here to really experience being on Nantucket and hearing from people here.
Joe, do you have something?
So I met with Brian Riley, town council, and he has a couple of minor little tweaks in the e-bike article, so he's moving forward with that. We were gonna look and see if Falmouth had anything, because they have speed limits and signs and all that, and so far we haven't been able to find anything. But anyways, so he's moving forward, and we'll have that ready for town meeting, and that will be reviewed at BPAC.
Perfect. Anything else?
I want to give a steamship update,
All right.
if you don't
so
mind, twice a year.
You want to let him? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, so the Barnstable is in the new boat, the first freight boat that is coming out of Alabama is in Fairhaven. Jim Corbett, the senior captain, took it up here with bunch of other people that ran into some really high winds. And they had to duck the cover all the way up. It was pretty bad. But the boat handled really well. He's had a lot of positive things to say about the way it handles and turns and the bow thrusters and all that, which is really good. So there's some more good news. So in the middle of December, we should be seeing it en route a little earlier than thought. And we're gonna have the Woods Hole, we'll switch over to the run on the Eagle schedule because the Eagle is not gonna be back till the middle of January. So we'll have the Woods Hole as our, regular boat, and the Barnstable will be freight boat. So this is really good news. And it's just like everything else, we just witnessed it with Mike. Takes time. Now, things just take time and take longer. It's just the way it is. So thank you.
Your chair, Matt. Adjourn the meeting.
Whoa,
No, I have one.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm sorry.
I just, yeah,
Got ghosted.
on the general topic of bikes, et cetera. The select board, at the suggestion of Matt, with my full support, would really like to see the signage on bike paths cleaned up to reduce confusion as to who has to yield to whom as a project. And I know what I've seen is, I think when they do the line painting contract, they just come out and they just repaint lines, even where they're no longer stop signs for bikes.
Right.
And it really does create a lot of visual confusion. And I also really would like to see traffic safety come up with a definition of what is a dangerous intersection where the bikes do need stop signs as opposed to everywhere, which is not the
Real
intent.
stopping versus not.
Right,
Yeah.
and making it clearer that the bylaw is that cars have to yield to the bike path with the exceptions of certain dangerous intersections where bikes are given stop signs. So just, I don't know how much that relates here. It's transportation related, it's all of it.
This is part of that joint meeting stuff.
Yeah, so
It really is.
the cleanup that really should be, was elevated in the select board's strategic planning as a priority.
Leslie?
I was in a meeting with at least one, I can't remember who was there because it was a while ago, it was at least one BPAC member, at least one commission member, Mike Burns, maybe Drew Patnode, I can't remember if he was there or not, but I know he's been on like some email threads about this and about, what's a dangerous intersection. So I think getting some input from an outside group like traffic safety would maybe be helpful.
We have
to
crash
resolve
data,
things.
right?
And I think cleaning up the bylaw, but it was a citizen petition, so it would.
I mean, there is crash data exists, right? So is there a way to inform to some extent where to look for what's dangerous, right? And I don't know, I just don't know.
I think there's a list created,
Yeah, hang
and
on.
I think it needs to be approved.
Mike, God bless you. Raise your hand when I knew that
Sorry,
I'm calling
Mike.
you anyways.
Yeah, just to circle this back on the agenda, this will be talked about at BPAC on Wednesday, because there are conflicting recommendations from traffic safety. The police chief, fire chief, DPW director, and myself have a different, we'll have a recommendation ready. We'll share that with the BPAC members, along with some of the other locations that the BPAC has identified as where nuisance signs are located. We do need to find some middle ground on this. We can't do anything that deviates too far from state design regulations and state law. And so we will bring a recommendation. Hopefully we can square it between BPAC members and traffic safety and public safety staff, and bring a recommendation to the select board with, I'm not sure if it'll be unanimous, but at least we'll have a recommendation to ask of the select board to act on, to provide some clarity on this.
Yeah, clarity and consistency is all I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else under other committee reports?
I just have one, it's not the committee and it's not,
All right, it's off the agenda then, right?
it was.
Is it an agenda item or are you off agenda with me?
No, I guess it's off agenda, so I will.
All right,
email you.
Under others?
Huh?
Under others?
Because
Well,
There you go.
is
we
another
have like
committee?
other comments from the commission.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I usually like to kind of know when these things are coming down the pipeline.
No, it's
so
something we've
I-
talked about before. It was just going back to something that John had suggested about maybe setting some goals for 2025.
All right, and so we're gonna look at that in the not too far future.
Yeah, so
That's all.
that's what I was just bringing up.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, just-
asking if that was going to be on an agenda item at some future time.
Yeah.
Would
Excellent.
like to see that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also,
but-
we've also talked about bringing this, different groups in to talk with us, like staff and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on a future agenda as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The big thing was to have cleared the deck from what we just did.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, that kind of eclipsed some other things that were going on in the process.
Just
So
bringing it up.
as we turn into a new year, there'll be a few things that'll come before us. Unless one just started in December, right before Christmas. I don't think so. We'll try to keep that
Whatever you
one.
want, Mr. Chairman.
We'll try to keep that one short and sweet, but for anything vital. Okay. So. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy your holidays. Pardon? And I will take that motion to adjourn. Yes, Brooke, and Matt seconded.
Yeah.
All right, roll call vote. Showtop,
Aye.
Christina Jolly,
Bye.
Brooke Moore,
Bye.
Dave Iverson, Matt Wolf,
Aye.
Wendy Hudson,
Bye.
Abby DeMolina,
Aye.
John Kitchener.
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you, everyone. Have a great set of holidays.
Thanks.
You too.
Hi, everyone. Indeed. Hi, all.
Please don't miss my cues for Senate phone call.